All right, a very big welcome to you, my awesome viewers and listeners from all over the world. Thank you for joining me on another great episode of your favorite political talk show, The Truth with Ben Jokes. Now, I have always maintained that this administration does not mean well for Nigeria. And I have not been saying that because of what happened during the 2023 presidential election. Yes, that also counts. But that is not my main reason. I have been analyzing all the actions they've been taking, everything they've been saying since they got into Aso Rock. And with all they've been doing, I have come to the conclusion that these guys don't mean well at all. Now, I am going to show you an update. And in your heart of hearts, whether you are an APC supporter, whether you believe in religion and everything, tell us how this is the next thing we should be talking about in this country. And this update is coming straight from the presidency. Look at it. Students must submit final year projects for NYSC mobilization, FG. Now, tell me how this is the next thing we should be talking about in Nigeria. That was how the other day they signed Chinese language into the Nigerian curriculum. Is this what we should be talking about? Students should submit their final year project. How does that help the country? These are just a group of people that are there behaving like drunks. They don't even know what is happening in this country. Insecurity is eating up the entire nation. The FCT Abuja has been completely taken over by bandits, people being butchered in broad daylight. And the SGF, George Akume, is talking about final year students submitting their projects before they will be mobilized for NYSC. This is a disaster. If Nigeria does not end the APC will end Nigeria. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming from a coalition of Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso. They said they are about to expose those who are sponsoring insecurity in Nigeria. And next is that very tragic update coming out of the FCT. The failure of Wike and Tinubu once again exposed in the FCT as insecurity snatches the life of one of the most prominent Nigerians in today's journalism. Before I show you details of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this video. This is a video that I just had to show you.
The story in Adamawa State, where the state's local government chairmen have sparked widespread outrage by sponsoring their wives for a leadership training program in Istanbul, Turkey. The chairman of the Association of Local Governments of Nigeria in the state, Sulaiman Tongo, defended the trip, stating that it was necessary to equip their spouses with leadership skills so they could offer useful advice to the chairman on governance, adding that the importance of the training outweighed the cost. Critics, however, have condemned the trip as a wasteful and misuse of public funds, especially given the recent granting of financial autonomy to local governments and the high poverty levels in Adamawa State. While social media users suggested the trip was merely a thinly veiled publicity-funded vacation. I'll take a tweet higher before I come to you. This person wrote on X, Adamawa State is amongst Nigeria's poorest states, yet the governor's wife signed off the Esther Code to sponsor herself and the wives of 21 LG chairmen in the state on a luxury trip to Turkey. The total IGR of the state in 2022 was a little above 13 billion naira. In 2023, it was just about 17 billion. And in 2024, it didn't reach 20 billion. The amount First Lady Remi Tinubu purportedly raised in 5 days. How is a state stricken by native poverty, with a majority of its people, particularly kids, wallowing in hunger and wretchedness, able to afford a luxury trip for 21 women and their aides in faraway Turkey? The answer can only be imagined in a country called Nigeria. Ayo, go ahead.
There's no justification whatsoever.
Yes.
Whether it be training, whether it be vacation, there's no justification for a state that's not able to generate 20 billion naira in 2024 to send wives of local government chairmen to Turkey for training or whatever. I say this because we are still arguing the fact of whether or not there should be the office of a first lady.
These are the questions.
And what budget line item would fund that. Now we are now grappling with office of the first lady of a local government chairman. And then in a state where you have banditry, you have terrorist attacks, you have issues around security and poverty, education levels, out of school children, and what they deem fit to spend their money on is to take about 17 women abroad. I champion the issues around women,
yes,
and I love women.
Yes.
But when we have to call a spade, that this is absolute waste of government resources.
Yes.
And it's a slap on the faces of Adamawa children who are not in school as a result of lack of budgetary allocation to them being able to go to school. It is a slap on the face of the people who have to beg for food in Adamawa State. It is a slap on the face of those who are displaced currently as a result of security challenges in Adamawa State. It should be probed, and anyone who's found culpable should face the punishment. It's very sad that we're spending our resources this way.
You saw that. Wives of local government chairmen. Who elected them? What leadership skills are they going to acquire? They said they want them to acquire skills so that they can advise their husbands. How ridiculous does that sound? Now, when they granted local government autonomy, I said it here that I am not celebrating this. Why? Because we have a culture of corruption. And until corruption is dealt with, I maintain that every strategy we adopt to try to do things right will not work. Some people came and said, it is a win now. Why am I not celebrating it? No, I won't. Now you have seen what is happening. Local government chairmen all over Nigeria are misbehaving now. Because it is just you have transferred some power to some other persons to begin to oppress Nigerians under the corruption-laden culture of ours. That is what Tinubu has succeeded in doing with the local government autonomy. You have not changed anything because the head is rotten. No headway can be made. You are privy to the amount of millions that will go into that trip. It will shock you. But I am not surprised. As far as Nigerians continue to allow politicians to do whatever they want without checking them, without revolting against them, without standing up for themselves, politicians will never stop doing evil. This one has happened now. They have swept it under the carpet. Nobody's talking about it again. And that is how things will continue. Evil things will continue to happen, and politicians will be getting away with it until this country will sink. If Nigerians don't want that to happen, then it is time for us to stand up against this evil political class and enforce a change. Now, let us look at the top stories. First is that one coming from a coalition of Niger Republic, Burkina Faso, and Mali. And next is that very tragic one coming out of FCT. I have been talking about the level of insecurity within the FCT. Whether this was an assassination, whether this was just the usual armed robbery, or if this was a terrorist attack, this is one tragic event that shows us the state of decay in security within the FCT and Nigeria as a whole. The death of a prominent media personality in Abuja. Let's start by taking that update from the coalition of Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Look at how the papers reported it. Breaking news. Intelligence agencies from Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso say they are preparing to reveal the names of senior Nigerian politicians alleged to be supporting bandit groups operating in Nigeria's northwest, according to security analyst Zagazola Makama. Now, these are the leaders of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso saying they are going to reveal the names of sponsors of terror in Nigeria. And this man here, the leader of Niger here, he said it clearly that they submitted reports to Nuhu Ribadu and gave him some names that he could arrest, and that Nuhu Ribadu refused to act on that report. That is the current NSA under Tinubu. He said he refused to act on that report. I don't think they are going to go ahead with this because I am very sure that before you know it, Tinubu and all of them will intervene. They'll intervene in the best way they can, because if that list is published, you will be shocked by the names of the people you will see on the list. But this is just for you and I to consume this information, especially for those who still have a soft spot for the APC. When we tell you that these people know everything that is happening, it looks as if we are just talking. If Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali are saying that they know, they have the names and they want to publish, you are telling me that Tinubu does not know? How does that add up? They know. They are all working together. It behoves Nigerians who bear the brunt of this misrule, who bear the brunt of this insecurity that is orchestrated by men in the high places, to say enough is enough. And when we say that, we can come together, kick the APC out of power, and get our country back. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that update, that tragic update coming out of the FCT began making the rounds. Look at how the papers reported it. Arisetv news presenter Christelle Maduagu killed in Abuja robbery. The Nigerian media industry is mourning the shocking death of 29-year-old Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagu, a presenter, reporter, and producer with Arise News Channel, who was killed during an armed robbery at her residence in Katampe, Abuja. Maduagu, fondly known as Somi by colleagues, was attacked in the early hours of Monday. Her untimely death at just 29 has left a void in the newsroom and among viewers who had come to admire her professional delivery and warm personality. In a statement confirming the incident, Arise News described her as a cherished member of the Arise News family, whose voice engaged and connected with our viewers. The station further noted, Somi's voice is now silent, but her spirit, passion, and legacy will endure as part of our collective memory. We call for a speedy investigation, apprehension, and prosecution of the culprits. The Nigerian police have already commenced an investigation into the robbery and killing. The deceased was born on December 26, 1995. Her colleagues and management have extended condolences to her family, describing her passing as a devastating blow not only to Arise News but also to the entire Nigerian media community. Her death adds to the rising cases of insecurity in the country. Despite the Nigerian government promise to end the menace, it has been unable to curtail the development. Now, you say this is a robbery. Why have we suddenly concluded that it is a robbery? We are talking about investigation. Journalists need to go out and do their own investigations too. This might not be a robbery. This might be an assassination, because they said when she heard that robbers were in her premises, she jumped down from her flat. That was how she got injured. And police came, they didn't react quickly. And when they eventually got to the hospital rejected her. We have been hearing a lot of things surrounded with this death now. We need proper investigation conducted. And look at how Nigerians reacted. Let's take some of the tweet reactions. This tweet here by Shegun Adesanya says, "This is so sad. What a country we found ourselves. May her soul rest in peace. Amen." And the Jedi Master here says, "The house is on fire, but the clueless leaders have no clue there is a monster at large. This malignant cancer will consume the nation. It is being treated with levity. Anything short of 100 million naira bounty to find the killers would be futile." Well, it depends on who the killers are. It depends on the purpose. If they were actually trying to rob her, then you can start talking about finding the killers. But if this was an assassination, if it was just somebody trying to take her out, then I can assure you that we are never going to find those killers. Because the person that will attempt this kind of thing will be a powerful person. And once you are seated high up, or you are connected to people seated high up in this country, you can do whatever and get away with it. And of course, members of the Tinubu cabinet have started reacting to the death of this journalist. This one here says, killing of Arisetv journalist regrettable, says information minister. This is what they do. One after the other, they will just be posting on their X handles, just to fulfill all righteousness. And that is where it ends. Have you posted your own? Yes, me, I've posted my own. Oh. Everybody will just post and go and sit down. Throughout the Buhari regime, when insecurity was going on, what did they tell us? There will be brought to book. There will be brought to book. Tinubu came. There will be brought to book. Where is that book? We have still not seen it. When this whole thing began, nobody expected that a time would come when the FCT itself, the seat of power, will become this traumatized, will become this inundated by killers of all sorts. Because this one may be armed robbers. I'm not saying I'm sure that it is terrorists or bandits, or it may be just armed robbers. But I'm telling you that right now in the FCT, there are bandits. Right now in the FCT, Fulani headsmen are already wreaking havoc. Right now in the FCT, there is Boko Haram. This is the seat of power, for God's sake. Meaning everywhere in Nigeria is no longer safe. Will you still say that this is propaganda? Will you still say we are saying all these things because we dislike Tinubu and Wike? Yes, we don't like them. But this is beyond liking them or not liking them. This is the soul of a nation being taken away, being snatched away by terrorists, sponsored, supported by the negligence of an irresponsible bunch. And this is why I continue to encourage Nigerians from north, south, east, and west to come together and reject the APC in 2027. Let us reject these people. Cast your vote, defend your votes. Let us give our best first and see if we can change things. Because the way this country is going, in few years to come, especially if the APC stays in office beyond 2027, we will not have a country to call home. Anyway, make I leave am here. Make I still enter town. Make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una. Now I dey here. So don't go away. Don't go away.